Well, what's happening here? Juan, let me start with you. Why do you think the Times published this, and do you think that it was sourced well enough for them to go ahead?
Oh, sure. I think it was sourced well enough, and people are making a lot out of anonymous sources. Anonymous sources have been around forever in the history of journalism, and you use them appropriately. The question here is, was the news that was reported sufficient to justify front page placement? And that would be that had John McCain done something to benefit this woman, and secondly, they didn't pin down that they were having an affair, a sexual affair. So that's the question.
Other than that, I mean,
yeah, Cal, you know, that's it. When you see this, the sort of juicy part of this, you're expecting to get at least a fact, at least one person who can say, I saw them together in some kind of compromising position.
It was innuendo. I mean, look, these are modern times. There are many accomplished, intelligent, talented women who travel with men on business. Look at the shot that they chose to use in the New York Times. It was a glam shot. Had her in a gown, all gussied up, as my grandmother used to say. But look, the Times had this story in 2000 and tried to run with it then when McCain was running against George Bush. Why now? Especially just a couple of weeks after they had endorsed him for the Republican nomination along with Hillary Clinton for the Democratic nomination.
Well, that was kind of an iffy endorsement.
Let me tell you what they've done here. They managed to unite conservative talk radio in a way that nobody else can, because there's nothing better for a Republican than to be trashed by the New York Times.
Did you say women travel with men all the time? What, talk about
professional.
Come on, Cal, come on. This woman looks. Did you see that picture you call glam? She looks just like Cindy McCain. I think everybody's like, oh my God.
But at the same time, Jane, is there a sort of a set of second circumstances here where if it's a woman, a beautiful, young, attractive woman who does happen to look like his wife, and she is at some events, you know, why should that make any difference? What if it was a really good-looking young guy that was at a lot of events?
Well, I could make a joke and say then we'd have Mark Foley, you know, but let me just tell you, I think seriously that the Times has really been diminished by this story. They helpfully provide this evening clothes picture. They don't prove anything other than that aides were concerned about the appearance. They don't prove that he did things for her, that she got something from a friendship or whatever it was. They don't prove the romantic relationship. It's all tarted up, to use another grandmotherly phrase, and they don't prove it. And I think, you know, they're now taking a lot of heat, and I have to say, rightfully so. Where is the story, and what did they prove, and why did they put it on the front page? I don't think they've answered any of that.
Rich, you know, with all of the key things that we're focused on here in America in this presidential election, it was kind of surprising to me that they would come out with a story like this, using very, very old information, iffy at best, very few sources, even unnamed sources, and then something as trivial, in my opinion, as there may have been an appearance of something. Not that there was something, but an appearance. Why would they do that?
What clearly they were doing here, this is a story, the heart of the story is the affair. That's the story. And then they tried to gussy it up, to use Cal's grandmother's word, with all this public interest stuff about lobbying, going back to Keating 5.
In some way.
That was all, that was all extremely tortured and contrived to try to justify getting the story in the paper. And if you go back to the affair, you don't even have an allegation of an affair here. You don't have the two associates saying, we know they were romantically involved. They suspected. So it's an insinuation. And the fact is we're going back. If you have a 32-year-old attractive blonde woman in any proximity to a male politician in Washington, you are going to have rumors. And those rumors do not belong on the front page of the New York Times unless there's serious substantiation that there wasn't in this piece.
One, is that setting the bar too high? Should there have been at least one person who said, I think that there is something illicit going on here? Just one person instead of a couple of aides, using the term former aides, that said there was an appearance?
No, look, to my mind, everybody here is just trying to push this away. The heart of the story, as Rich said, were these two romantically linked? And in fact, was there a lie here because he then was writing letters that benefited some of her telecom clients? That wasn't proven. I mean, the letters were written.
Yeah, but the letters were very specific. I am not telling you rule this way or that way,
but
just
speed up
rule.
the process.
Right.
But why is he writing these letters? He wouldn't have been writing the letters. But, this is what lobbyists do, and it could have happened without any kind of romantic tie. But let me just say this. A lot of this now is being spun by John McCain to his benefit to rally the conservative base, without a doubt. And the reason is the New York Times, of course, reported, and the President of the United States asked Bill Keller, the editor of the New York Times, not to do it. Way back, I think this was in 2005, about eavesdropping on people that was taking place without court authorization. And I think the right wing is angry at the New York Times, and they're delighting in this. It's ironic because McCain has never been their guy.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
That's what it is. I think that's what's going on.
Rush Limbaugh may even come on board at some point. All right, it is time for a break. Did the mainstream media bury